Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's very hot today. Please sit down. This is going to be a very hot one, and we apologize to everybody out there that's got to suffer through it. But you know what? It's better than bad weather. And it's great to be in the Rose Garden. I want to especially thank this group for joining us as we announce a historic, groundbreaking initiative in our ongoing effort to rapidly develop and manufacture a coronavirus vaccine. We're joined by Secretary Stephen Mnuchin, Secretary Mark Esper, Secretary Alex Azar, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, FDA Director Dr. Stephen Hahn, Director of the National Institute of Health, Dr. Francis Collins, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx. We're joined by a very terrific group of professionals. Tomorrow will mark 30 days since we released the White House guidelines for a safe and phased opening of America. That's what we're doing. It's the opening of America. We're going to have an amazing year next year. We're going to have a great transition into the fourth quarter. As of this morning, almost every state has taken steps to begin reopening, and the American people are doing an extraordinary job of continuing to take precautions while at the same time wanting to start, and they will be starting to resume their American way of life. We will be reigniting our economic engines. We're going to be taking care of our most vulnerable, which are our senior citizens and some others. We're going to be working very, very hard on our senior citizens and our nursing homes and various communities to support those that are struggling in this very difficult time. Others don't have the same kind of struggle. For example, today, Secretary Perdue, together with Ivanka Trump, launched the Farmers and Families Food Box Program, which will provide $3 billion to help small farmers. And it'll be helping farmers, ranchers, but it'll be bringing food to some of the food lines and some of the food kitchens that you've been seeing on television. And I said, why aren't we doing that? We have all of this tremendous food produced by our farmers and our ranchers. And so we're going to be buying $3 billion worth of that food. Great for everybody, our farmers, our ranchers, and the people that need great food. A key feature of our reopening plan is the largest and most ambitious testing system in the world, by far. America is now conducting close to 350,000 tests per day, an unthinkable number just a short while ago, more than anybody in the world by far, suggesting many states now have excess testing capacity to monitor for new outbreaks. Florida, many other states have so much testing, the testers are waiting for people to show up. It's great. Another essential pillar of our strategy to keep America open is the development of effective treatments and vaccines as quickly as possible. I want to see if we can do that very quickly. We're looking to, when I say quickly, we're looking to get it by the end of the year if we can, maybe before. We're doing tremendously well. From the earliest days of the pandemic, we have marshaled the genius of American scientists and researchers from all across government and the private sector, from academia, from everywhere, to vanquish the virus, and tremendous strides have been made. I can tell you, I get to see it every day. Tremendous strides are being made. Scientists at the NIH began developing the first vaccine candidate on January 11th. Think of that. Within hours of the virus's genetic code being posted online. So January 11th, most people never even heard what was going on January 11th, and we were out there trying to develop a vaccine, not even knowing what we were up against. Then my administration cut through every piece of red tape to achieve the fastest ever by far launch of a vaccine trial for this new virus, this very vicious virus. And I want to thank all of the doctors and scientists and researchers involved, because they've never moved like this, or never even close. The NIH and the HHS have also been working constantly with private industry to evaluate more than 100 potential treatments. The Food and Drug Administration has swiftly approved more than 130 therapies for active trials. That's what we have right now, 130. and another 450 are in the planning stages, and tremendous potential awaits. I think we're going to have some very interesting things to report in the not-too-distant future. And thank you very much to Dr. Hahn. Through a historic series of funding bills, my administration is providing roughly $10 billion to support a medical research effort without parallel. I especially want to thank Senator Steve Daines of Montana for his incredible work. He has worked so hard to secure additional funding for vaccine development. He has been right at the forefront. Today, I want to update you on the next stage of this momentous medical initiative. It's called Operation Warp Speed. That means big and it means fast, a massive scientific, industrial, and logistical endeavor unlike anything our country has seen since the Manhattan Project. You really could say that nobody's seen anything like we're doing, whether it's ventilators or testing. Nobody's seen anything like we're doing now within our country since the Second World War. Incredible. Its objective is to finish developing and then to manufacture and distribute a proven coronavirus vaccine as fast as possible. Again, we'd love to see if we could do it prior to the end of the year. We think we're going to have some very good results coming out very quickly. In addition, it will continue accelerating the development of diagnostics and breakthrough therapies. The great national project will bring together the best of American industry and innovation, the full resources of the United States government, and the excellence and precision of the United States military. We have the military totally involved. We're also working very strongly with other countries who are also have some great scientists, doctors, and we're all working very closely together, and they're viewing us as the leader, and we are, the relationship with other countries on solving this problem has been incredible. To date, Operation Warp Speed has brought together all of the experts across the federal government from places like the NIH, CDC, FDA, and many other agencies. This historic partnership will now bring together the full resources of the Department of Health and Human Services with the Department of Defense, and we know what that means. That means the full power and strength of the military, and that really talking about the logistics. We get it when we get it. That means the logistics, getting it out so that everybody can take it. And today we're proud to announce the addition of two of the most highly
A nurse in Gainesville, Hall County, Debbie Stevers has lost her battle with COVID-19. Here's 11Alive Cheryl Preheim.
She was known as Mama Deb, or Little Debbie to her friends. Caring, fun, laughing about a first Snapchat with a young nurse she took under her wing.
So bear with me, okay?
A friend wrote, "You meet good people in your life, but Deb was a level up. She used her God-given ability to see other people and meet them where they were. She worked at Northeast Gainesville Medical Center for 15 years. Contagious kindness and happiness were her marks. She was a wife, mother, grandmother, nurse, friend, and so much more to so many. A vibrant, full-time nurse working and caring for others."
She lives behind a husband, a son, daughter, and granddaughter. She was only 61. She is North Georgia Health System's only employee who has died from COVID-19. As of today, they've had 113 COVID-positive employees out of more than 9,000. The CEO of North Georgia Health System stated, "We continue to do all we can to protect our heroes on the front lines of this battle, and they continue bringing their best every day to care for our community." There's no better way to honor Deb's life and legacy.
Here at 11Alive, it is our mission to bring you the facts and not to instill fear. That includes giving you a clear picture of where we stand with the number of cases. So today we're going to focus on 3 more counties. Let's kick it off with Hall County. Along the bottom of your screen, that represents each day going back to April 20th. So the red zone that you see here circled, that lets you know when the state started reopening and how the numbers seemingly started to go up there. Each bar represents the total number of cases reported each day. So here in Hall County, you can see lately there hasn't been a big of an increase day to day as there was a couple of weeks ago. That lines up with what the governor said today about efforts paying off to control those hotspots there in Hall. Let's go now to Henry County. Again, the day-to-day increase not as great as it was a couple of weeks ago. But sometimes there's an information lag that can really impact what we're seeing for the most recent days. And in Douglas County, since we reopened parts of the state, overall, the total number of cases is starting to level out with a few exceptions. Have questions about the numbers in your community? Let us know. Text us at 404-885-7600. And remember, please text, do not call.
With restrictions easing for daycares, more are looking into what it will take to actually reopen. There are 4,300 childcare programs here in our state, and right now, less than half are open. Latasha Gibbons has more on the different factors owners are weighing before bringing back children.
We've done everything that we can imagine to be prepared to reopen on Monday.
Jerisha White's 2 Metro daycare centers have been closed for the last 45 days, but these empty hallways and classrooms will be filled with learning and laughter next week.
Even though we're still in an uncertain state, as a country as a whole, I still have to worry about the direct needs of the community that I service.
Governor Kemp eased restrictions for daycares, but they still must follow strict guidelines. The Deputy Commissioner for Child Care Services with Bright from the Start says limiting exposure at daycare centers can be difficult.
You can't put a Band-Aid on a knee, you can't change a diaper, you can't feed a baby from 6 feet away. It's impossible.
Here are some of the new guidelines. No more than 20 people in a classroom. Community meals are banned and students must eat in their classrooms. Each teacher and child's temperature must be checked at the door, and parents are not allowed in the building.
We've implemented activities that cause for the children to have to be a little more farther apart than they normally would.
White is planning art and reading projects with empty seats in between, individual playstations outside, and even personal sandboxes. Her goal is to only have 10 children in a room with 5 on each side. And White says about 40% of her student body plans to return to school on Monday, but about half of the child care facilities that report to the state will remain closed.
Coming up next on Primetime, more promising signs for a possible COVID-19 treatment. How survivors might be able to help those fighting the virus.
Your 11Alive storm trackers tracking a very warm weekend and watching the impacts that this developing tropical system could have on our weather. We'll time it out for you coming up.
And don't forget, we are streaming all 3 hours of Primetime on our 11Alive YouTube channel. You can subscribe and get in on the conversation in the community section. More 11Alive news in Primetime after the break.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit
There are challenges for everyone right now, but there are still things that we can take for granted. Being disabled in the midst of this pandemic adds an extra layer of difficulty. People with special needs are innovative. They have found ways to adapt. Here's Matt Pearl.
Come on, look at the camera. Say hi.
Hi, my name is Chrissy, C-H-R-I-S-S-Y. My sign name is Chrissy.
Jacob is 5 years old, and he was diagnosed with autism.
Right now, I'm profoundly deaf. A lot of deaf and hard of hearing people rely on lip reading. Obviously, with the mask, that's a huge challenge.
For a child with autism, having like a set schedule, knowing what to do, that is very vital. And that's something that he missed for almost like a month and a half.
As sort of upended as your life might be now, imagine what it's like to be a person who uses a wheelchair, or a person who's blind, or a person who relies on sign language.
We value seeing people's expressions, just so much of how we communicate, and I miss it.
One of the things that disabled people are really good at is adaptation, is improvisation. We've learned how to maneuver in a society that wasn't built for us.
Happy birthday to you. On those days that we had to do e-learning, he actually was able to focus.
6 + 1 = 11. Good job.
I decided I wanted to share some science for essential workers. I recently shared a video. Food, drink. 150,000 views right now. So it's definitely encouraging to see just so many people are open-minded and want to help.
We're all getting a little bit of a taste of what it's like to have a disability. I think that is teaching us how to be more adaptive.
Jacob Slatter is making the resources available for all families online. We have put that information for you on 11alive.com.
There are now more than 100 cases of children with a rare inflammatory syndrome in New York City. Doctors think it may be linked to coronavirus. It's one of 3 things that you might have missed today. So far, there are 110 cases. That's a 10% rise in one day. This new condition is it's just identified. It has symptoms mirroring toxic shock syndrome and Kawasaki disease. This includes severe inflammation of the arteries in the heart. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio says African-American children account for at least 24% of the known cases. In 34% of those cases, the race is unknown. As South Florida emerges from coronavirus lockdown, President Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort will partially reopen this weekend to members. They'll be asked to practice social distancing, and lounge chairs will be set 6 feet apart. Members will also have to bring their own towels. The main building, which houses the hotel rooms, the main dining area, and the president's residence, will all remain closed. A promising development in the race to find a treatment. A new study found convalescent plasma appears to be safe to use on COVID-19 patients. More than 5,000 doctors from more than 2,000 hospitals and laboratories have been testing the experimental therapy. It involves transfusing the antibody-rich blood serum of recovered COVID-19 patients into people who are battling the illness. Of the 5,000 seriously ill patients who received blood plasma transfusions, fewer than 1% experienced serious adverse events. The mortality rate 7 days after the treatment was 14.9%. However, researchers noted that the infusion patients are already gravely ill and the rate does not appear excessive. While it is safe, more research is needed to confirm the treatment actually works.
Your 11Alive storm trackers watching some of those cumulus clouds move through today, and they actually held their temperatures down a little bit in the Atlanta area at the airport. We were down a couple degrees from where we were yesterday as the clouds are kind of thick until midday, and then they thinned out, and we, of course, warmed it up right where we should be this time of year, actually. 80 degrees. Our seasonal norm is 80 for the date, so we're exactly where we should be this time of year. But they were a little warmer in Rome, 83, 83 in LaGrange, 84 in Peachtree City, and 83 in Athens. So you may want to find some way to keep your cool this weekend, as it will be hot and the humidity will be going up as well, as we see a southerly component to the wind flow around a very broad area of high pressure. And this high pressure cell has protected us from storms all week. It's warmed us up all week. And now it's going to bring in a little humidity for us, and it's going to kind of slow down that developing system. we had originally thought it would move a little faster, but I think this huge broad ridge is going to hold it back just a wee bit. It's still going to develop most likely over this weekend. Right now it's still south of the Florida Keys, so in the Florida Straits, and it's going to continue to deepen and strengthen, most likely becoming a tropical storm sometime on our Saturday, an 80% chance of that happening within the next 48 hours. And it'll bring some big waves to the Florida coast, some strong winds to the northern islands in the Bahamas, as well as it continues its movement to the north. Now, as we take a look at these two models, this is the European model and the American model. They are pretty much in agreement as to where this will be on Sunday, right east of the Space Coast of Florida, and then making its way to the north towards the Cape Hatteras area, so the Outer Banks of the Carolinas. We're going to have to watch that carefully. In the meantime, it'll whip up our waves and make for some pretty strong rip currents. So if you happen to be heading to the coast this weekend, just use great care out there if you are in the water. We're looking at a humid pattern too as this low moves up the coast. That imports a little moisture for us and keeps us on the sticky side, but it won't last too long. We're going to see a frontal system move on through, and that's going to bring in some showers and storms Monday, especially Monday night into early Tuesday, and some cooler air for us. So let's talk about the timing on that. The front coming out of Texas tonight, moving to the east as we head into the overnight hours. We're going to stay high and dry on our Saturday. It's going to be warm and lovely, mid-80s. Then the front approaches as we get into Sunday, maybe a few more clouds during the day on Sunday during the afternoon and evening, but still a lot of sunshine and making it into the upper 80s with that strong component to the wind flow out of the south ahead of the front and then out of the southwest. Meanwhile, our storm's going to be spinning here, bringing in a little bit of moisture as well. So we're going to have to track this carefully as we head into Monday. We'll have some showers and storms, and then this will help guide that storm most likely along that frontal boundary. So we'll continue to track it over the weekend and let you know. In the meantime, it'll be warm and humid. It'll be a gorgeous, mostly dry weekend. Storms come in on Monday into early Tuesday, and then we cool it down with a couple of really nice days midweek.
Now to the impact of COVID-19 on your trip to the grocery store. Prices for eggs, meat, and many other items in Metro Atlanta have gone up higher and faster than in other parts of the country. John Sherrick explains.
The headlines about grocery store prices nationwide, full of words like soaring. They're talking about this, the 2.6% increase nationwide from March to April. And break it down. In Atlanta, up 4.3% from March to April.
Ouch, that hurts.
Emory University economist Douglas Bowman says farmers, manufacturers, wholesalers in the nation's coronavirus hotspots facing increasing costs from dealing with the virus and slowing down production temporarily, passing the higher costs on to the retailers. But Bowman says, look, where infections have decreased, such as the former hotspot of Seattle, grocery prices there up less than 1% last month.
Which suggests that, once things start to settle down, we might be okay.
Grocers here for now, passing the higher prices on to customers for what is available to maintain their profit margins of maybe 1 or 2% to stay in business. Kathy Kazava of the Georgia Food Industry Association.
As more plants get up again running, I think that there's going to be more supply coming in the stores, and as a result, the prices will start going down.
Starting to go down, or at least stabilizing, she believes, possibly by the end of May.
We want to highlight the good things happening in the community. You can go to Cobb County right now, and that's where we're going to go, where one boy is cooking up ways to help his neighbors. 11-year-old Owen Lambert, 5th grade at Soap Creek Elementary, and when he is not busy with online classes, he is in the kitchen baking pies to sell for $12 each. He has raised more than $900. His parents rounded up and wrote a $1,000 check for Must Ministries. He's still going, so if you want a pie, you can order it through his mother's Facebook page. There is a link in our story on myeastcobbnews.com. Way to go. Those pies look great. Remember to share the acts of kindness if you see them in your community. You can share them on Twitter using the hashtag #SendTheLoveATL.
I'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Working from home is something most of us have been doing for more than 2 months now, but not every job can be done remotely. And based on new research, the number of jobs that can be done from home varies by country. Let's connect the dots.
The recent report from the University of Chicago found that the lower a country's GDP was, the lower the share of jobs that can be done at home, meaning developing economies and emerging markets will have a harder time remote working during social distancing. On the other end, in 12 countries with the highest GDP per capita, Luxembourg had the highest share of jobs that can potentially be done at home at 53%, compared to the U.S., 12 points behind at 41% of jobs. That ties America at 5th with Iceland, behind Luxembourg, Switzerland, Sweden, and Norway. Obviously, the research shows certain jobs can't be done from home, but it can be a useful tool for lawmakers to identify who needs the most help moving forward. Because ultimately, this virus is widening the gap between certain countries and workers more than ever before.
Well, it is so important that we give our seniors a chance to shine. They've accomplished so much. It's so huge, a big milestone in their life, and it deserves to be celebrated. So we've been asking you to send in seniors who you think need recognition for our senior spotlight. So here's one for you this evening. Samuel Smith heading to Mississippi State this fall on a full-ride scholarship to be a track hurdler. He is majoring in business administration with a minor in graphic design. So congratulations to you, Samuel.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Senator Kelly Loeffler has given the Justice Department, SEC, and Senate Ethics Committee documents about information about stock trades by she and her husband. Earlier this week, the FBI served a search warrant for the phone of North Carolina Senator Richard Burr as the agency ramps up its investigation into possible insider trading. Joining me right now is Chuck Todd, the moderator of Meet the Press. Chuck, we've talked about this for a couple of months now, how this has looked bad, the optics have been awful, but are there more cards to be played in this? Are there any more surprises for Senator Loeffler, would you guess?
Honestly, the question I have, and you brought up, first of all, it's interesting that Senator Burr had a search warrant where the FBI had to basically go to the Justice Department and get approval for something like that. That happened. Neither Senator Loeffler or Senator Dianne Feinstein, California Democrat, who's also been interviewed, or at least said she's turned over some information to the FBI. It's interesting to me that it appears that both Feinstein and Loeffler have been voluntarily cooperating with the FBI. The implication with Burr is that that wasn't voluntary. Now with Burr, they're also looking into some trades that his brother-in-law made right around at the same time. The question we've had is this a criminal investigation? And we haven't gotten an answer on that. Our own Pete Williams said, look, remember Congress passed what was called the Stock Act a few years ago. And I think, if you recall, I want to say there was a member of the Georgia delegation that got caught up in this a few years back. But essentially, there was a scandal about 7-8 years ago where a bunch of members of Congress were caught, trading on information that they were learning. And so they did pass a bill to make it illegal. Perhaps that's what they're investigating here. But that's the question. Was a crime committed? You can make a moral case, but the question we have is, what crime did they commit? And I think that's something that isn't clear just yet.
I was reading a piece in The Atlantic today about the campaign of Joe Biden, and it essentially talked about his basement campaign, as many people have labeled it. And I thought it was an interesting point that nobody looks good on Zoom. We all do these meetings on Zoom, and none of us look particularly good. But when you're running for the presidency and you're making gaffes the way he is, their point in this was these are very tough times for him, trying to figure out where this campaign is going to go against President Trump.
Yeah, you mean when you lean forward in, what's that? And all that stuff. Yeah,
right.
The Zoom stuff is always terrible on that front. Is this on? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Look, I think ultimately the idea of staying out of your opponent's way when you think your opponent is hurting himself is still a really good strategy. And that's what the Biden campaign, why I think they've been comfortable staying in the basement. I think they view that President Trump is running against President Trump. That said, I think I think that at some point he has to get out. I think at least to start talking with Democratic constituency groups. It is very hard to fire voters up on Zoom. And I think, you know, whether it's the Latino community in Arizona, the African American community in Georgia, you know, if you want to put those states in play, it takes on the ground, you know, talking to people and all that. And so they got to get them out at some point, but I understand why they don't.
Speaking of being in the basement, how about the doghouse for Dr. Fauci? Increasingly, we see less and less of him. And would you guess that also that's going to be how this plays out, that he simply has a voice that we don't hear as much?
Well, by the way, it's not just him. Deborah Birx, Dr. Fauci, Jerome Adams, the Surgeon General, you have not seen them out as spokespeople on much at all in the last few weeks. On that front. It's not just Dr. Fauci. I think Fauci gets the most attention there. This is more about where the president wants. He has got it in his own head, which I think he's mistaken, but he believes if you're talking about the virus, you're depressing people and you're hurting the economy. So he feels as if the scientists are sitting there with him, then you're not focused on reopening the economy, which is, he is trying to turn the page, even if the virus won't let him.
Chuck Todd, thank you. Meet the Press airs at 10 o'clock Sunday morning right here on 11Alive. Thank you, Chuck.
The spread of the coronavirus is also leading to massive spreads of disinformation online. So we've put our verified team to work on this around the clock, breaking down claims and rumors. Here's Jason Puckett with the biggest ones we've seen this week.
Thanks to everyone sending us questions throughout the week. It helps us spot the viral claims and rumors and break down what's really going on. First up, this viral image about fake stimulus checks and security measures that let you know your check is real. We checked with the FTC and Treasury Department, and they confirmed fake checks are a scam that they're monitoring. Now, most are meant for banks to check, but a few, like the correct seal on the corner and a watermark on the front and back, can be checked at home. The other option, the Treasury Department has a website where you can input the check number to make sure it's legit. Just double check that you're actually on the treasury.gov site before you put any personal information in. Next, to claims about HR 6666, a new bill introduced in early May. The bill has been the target of multiple viral claims. Some say it requires mandatory vaccinations. Others say it gives the government the right to enter your home and test you for COVID and possibly separate families for quarantine. We checked with the bill's sponsor, Representative Bobby Rush of Illinois, and we read the bill ourselves. Bottom line, HR 6666 never mentions vaccines of any sort, and it does not give anyone the power to enter your home and to force testing or quarantines. These claims are false and easily debunked when you read the bill. It's about 5 pages long, and I'd recommend everyone read it. And finally, these viral images claiming that the U.S. has had a survival rate of 99.9% from COVID cases. Current numbers show this is false. CDC data shows we've had 1,384,930 confirmed COVID cases and 83,947 confirmed deaths. That means about 6% of confirmed cases have been fatal so far. Keep in mind, this number will change with testing, but it's too early to know what it will be. So the claim that our survival rate is higher than 99.9% is false. If you see more questions or claims like these out there, send us an email. We'll take a look.
The YMCA is now open for business. Several locations across Metro Atlanta are opening their doors to the public. 11Alive's Nick Sturdivant spoke with the president of the YMCA of Metro Atlanta on the plan to help keep everybody safe.
For the 7 YMCA locations across Metro Atlanta that are opening today, today is considered phase 1, and the YMCA is taking gradual steps as far as reopening. I spoke with the YMCA of Metro Atlanta president and CEO Lauren Kuntz. She said the plan to reopen was well thought out. They are only operating at 25% capacity at these locations and limiting people to an hour. Phase 1 is in line with the CDC and Georgia Department of Public Health's protocols, which include regular temperature checks, designating different access points, cleaning and disinfecting, social distancing, and even spacing out fitness equipment. People are also required to wear masks as the staff helps them navigate through the facilities. On your screen, the 7 locations that are now open.
We're really at those 7 locations only opening the wellness floor of the work that we do. on Monday. And again, that's important because we kind of want to breathe through that. Let's take 3 days to get used to that. We wanted all members to at least have access to a why.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of mental health and physical benefits from getting back to a wellness routine. We're really trying to have a thoughtful and strategic approach and talking to our communities to understand what do they really need right now.
And Coates told me that the staff continues to go through hours of training to get up to speed with the protocols. They look to reopen more locations in the coming weeks.
We hear a lot about those tiny droplets in the air that can lead to someone contracting COVID-19. And new research now shows that just speaking in a confined space could be enough to spread the virus from person to person. Just holding a conversation could be enough to spread COVID-19. That's the finding of a new study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences and reported in USA Today. Scientists use lasers to show that 1 minute of talking loudly can produce 1,000 virus-containing droplets that can linger in the air for more than 8 minutes. That research found that since droplets that exist in an asymptomatic person's mouth can carry coronavirus, there's a substantial probability that normal speaking causes airborne virus transmission in confined environments. Some argue this supports the importance of wearing a mask as recommended by the CDC to stop the spread. Aaron Bromage, a biology professor at the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth, recently published a blog post that went viral. In it, he outlined high-risk environments that could lead to coronavirus infections. That includes workplaces, public transport, social gatherings, restaurants, and a person's home. All indoors with people in close spaces that involve a large amount of talking, singing, or yelling. Robert says as we continue to reopen and venture out into indoor spaces, people should consider if a location has good airflow that's being regularly circulated. If it's a noisy, crowded spot, it might be a place you want to avoid or not stay long inside.
Coming up next on Primetime, more on the president's plan to fast-track a COVID-19 vaccine and what experts have to say about the timeline.
Well, this weekend is going to be not only very warm, but obviously very sunny. So our UV index is at a 10 on Saturday. That means you can burn in as little as 15 minutes. So it's time to think about grabbing that hat and sunglasses before you head out the door tomorrow to protect yourself. Coming up, we'll talk about just how hot we'll get and when the hottest day of the year so far will occur.
Giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. on 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
The White House is trying to fast-track a coronavirus vaccine, with the president saying today that he wants it done by the end of the year.
The federal government will invest in manufacturing all of the top vaccine candidates before they're approved, so we're knowing exactly what we're doing before they're approved. That means they better come up with a good vaccine because we're ready to deliver it.
For some perspective now, vaccines can sometimes take decades before the FDA approves them, and several experts, including Dr. Fauci, have said the best case scenario would be a vaccine that is ready by January. Even in that case, companies would have to produce the vaccine before it is proven to work. Vaccine trials, they're expected to begin in July, with many possible vaccines being tested at once. 11Alive's Ryan Kruger will have more on this coming up on 11Alive News Primetime at 9.
We've all been doing our part to try and beat the coronavirus with things like social distancing and washing your hands. But beating COVID-19 can still seem pretty daunting even with all of these precautions. Now, a new study says we can make significant progress if we just do one thing all the time. Let's connect the dots.
Everyone should wear a mask, surgical or homemade, like they do in other countries. This is according to a new paper being published by a team of scientists. The study says if 80% of a closed population were to wear a mask, COVID-19 infection rates fall to about 1/12 compared to if no one wore masks. This was all calculated using a computer forecasting model. It takes programming used by epidemiologists to track outbreaks and blends it with other models that are used in artificial intelligence. Ultimately, it shows the possibility of transmission in simulated populations that wear masks versus those that don't. Some health experts praise this model, saying it's thorough, even if it can't be taken conclusively right now. Still, wearing masks in crowded areas like grocery stores is something they recommend everyone do while the pandemic continues.
There is a lot of talk about the new normal after the virus, and while you've been away from work for a while, your office could change in a pretty big way when you return. For years, businesses have been moving to open spaces, but with a growing need for social distancing, could we see permanent changes now? Matt Gregory from our sister station in Washington, D.C. spoke with an architect about the future of spaces at the office.
It's hard to remember, but these open concept offices with no walls and shared workspaces haven't always been the way of the workplace.
Private offices were the thing when I started.
Shalom Baranis has designed offices in D.C. for more than 30 years. So what shifts does he expect the coronavirus pandemic to bring?
We're going to have to be careful that we don't limit our design solutions to only solve yesterday's wars.
For example, Baranis says the design of future offices might resemble the redesign his firm did on the Pentagon after 9/11.
We developed a universal space plan system there that allows for very significant reconfiguration of spaces in very short periods of time.
If employees need to socially distance quickly, you could have
open offices or closed offices. You can basically do that over a weekend.
And Baranis says the pandemic shows us another reality of the new office.
I think offices are going to have to seamlessly stitch working at home with those working at the office.
He believes companies will want to add more remote technology inside their buildings to help people work outside the office.
Look, as a result of this pandemic, I think we're all discovering that with the proper technology, first of all, we're all capable of working remotely.
Well, today we hit 80 degrees, and do you know that's exactly where we should be this time of year? That is the seasonal average for the date, far from the record of 91, mind you. That was set back in 1947. And temperatures at night very mild now this time of year in the low 60s, so we won't have that chill that we had last weekend, if you remember, when we were down in the 40s and even 30s in the high country. So we're seeing not only the temperatures go up, but the dew points are going up. So that's going to rise bring our humidity up as well. It's going to be a little sticky this weekend, and we'll see it peak on Monday as that tropical system is off of our coastline, and then drop after our frontal system sweeps through and dries us out next week. So on your Saturday, warm, humid, lovely, a 9 on the wazometer with temperatures in the mid-80s during the afternoon, and even hotter on Sunday in the upper 80s. We could likely see a 90-degree reading somewhere in the Atlanta area, if not here, likely in middle Georgia. We're also watching for that development off the coastline of our potential tropical system. It could be the first named tropical storm of the season. It has an 80% chance of developing the next 48 hours. And if it does develop, it'll be named Arthur. That's the first name on the list for 2020. So tropical moisture in place, warm temperatures as well as we head into our Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That low off our coast on Monday will continue to whip up the winds and also bring in some big waves and strengthen those rip currents as well. So once we get into Monday, things will start to change. We'll have that frontal system that's over Texas tonight move in over us and bring in some showers and thunderstorms, especially the second half of the day and into early Tuesday. And as it moves in, we'll start to see those temperatures drop when the rain moves in. But it'll be dry this weekend and lovely. It's just once we get on into our Monday during the day, that rain will move in. No big rainmaker this time around, no big soaker, but we'll have some showers and thunderstorms. And then it'll pass through as we head into our Monday afternoon and evening. And then early Tuesday, maybe some wraparound moisture behind this coming in around that low. But then after that, we should be drying out around here. So warm and humid for your weekend, mostly dry, mostly lovely. And then we have showers and storms on our Monday, wrapping up early Thursday for a beautiful Tuesday, a beautiful Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday and Thursday with temperatures a little bit below average for the middle of next week.
Medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
countries around the world are starting to loosen restrictions and open parts of their economy. Meanwhile, health experts are warning about possible spikes in infections and deaths. But as numbers start to rise or plateau right now, two countries stand out because of their relatively low numbers. Why? Let's connect the dots.
Qatar and Singapore both have a death toll that is less than 0.1% of reported infections, according to a report from Bloomberg. In countries facing major spreads, defined as more than 10,000 cases, Qatar has so far suffered less than 20 deaths out of more than 25,000 cases. Singapore has just over 20 deaths with almost 25,000 cases. The two nations are among some of the wealthiest in the world, which means they can better afford the test kits and hospital beds they need. It's also a sharp contrast to a rich country like the U.S., which leads the world by a significant margin in confirmed cases and deaths. According to health experts, the low numbers can be attributed to testing, age of population, and ICU capacity. But even despite a difference in population age among these two countries, many of the cases are being found in younger migrant workers who go through health checks before going to work. Ultimately, experts say countries that test more and detect more mild cases will have an apparently lower case fatality rate.
Not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests.
With the death of Pepper Rogers overnight, you will not see mention of his lawsuit against Georgia Tech when he was dismissed. Every college coach in America should appreciate the life of Franklin Cullen Rogers today. And here's why. He paved the way for big payouts for all of these coaches all across America. Rogers sued Georgia Tech for fringe benefits. The school refused to pay him after firing him 2 years before his contract expired and then got a settlement. It took him almost 4 years to get his Georgia Tech money. In 1983, Pepper told David Moffat, who was a longtime terrific Atlanta sports writer for United Press International, that he didn't do it just for himself, adding, it wasn't the money so much as the principle. I felt an injustice was there and it needed to be corrected. And it changed everything. From now on, schools and coaches pay closer attention to their contracts. They'll be more likely to make sure that everything is in writing, said Pepper Rogers some 37 years ago in 1983. Mr. Moffat wrote that Rogers sued for $331,030. A Fulton County Superior Court ruled in favor of Georgia Tech, but was overruled by the Georgia Court of Appeals, which said Rogers was entitled to such benefits as profits from radio and television shows and the use of a new car and tickets to pro sporting events around here in Atlanta. The settlement was described as fair with Homer Rice, who was the athletic director back then. I've always believed that lawsuit kept Pepper Rogers out of the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame for a very long time. He finally got in, but there was a price to pay. There were some people not very happy with his victory.
11Alive News Primetime on the ATL starts now.
Next on Primetime, new videos on the Ahmaud Arbery murder investigation. Now the attorneys for one of the men charged with his murder suggest there could be new revelations to come. A new coronavirus hotspot developing in our state of Georgia, how it started, and what the latest case numbers say about our efforts to flatten the curve.
Hey guys, I love you. I miss you. Hope I can come back.
The pandemic may have separated this teenager from his favorite students, but it could not keep them from celebrating the future together. But first, let's get to our top story tonight, folks. Well, the feds are calling it Operation Warp Speed. President Donald Trump announcing that he's hoping to see a coronavirus vaccine by the end of the year. But some in the scientific community are throwing cold water on those high expectations. Here's 11Alive's Ryan Kruger.
Calling it the biggest scientific operation since the Manhattan Project, President Trump unveiled his plans for a vaccine by New Year's.
We'd love to see if we could do it prior to the end of the year.
That would be a real challenge.
Dr. Ted Ross is the director of the Center for Vaccines and Immunology at UGA.
Normally, vaccines take years to develop. Then you have to manufacture this for all the American population. So 350 million Americans would have to have a dose. If it took 2 doses, that would be 700 million doses.
The president's plan gives the fast track to develop 14 promising vaccines. Officials hope to have 3 or 4 vaccines pass final testing and then will be made available. A top Army general and a head scientist from a major drug company will spearhead the operation.
These data made me feel even more confident that we will be able to deliver a few 100 million doses of vaccine by the end of 2020.
So Ryan, have those scientists discovered how they're going to actually use this vaccine? Would it be similar to us getting a flu shot? It will be an annual shot.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest questions that they have to answer tonight, Ron. Will it only be 1 dose, multiple doses? Does that cure you forever? Or, as you said, is it going to be one of those where we have to have it every season, similar to we get the flu shots now? Dr. Ross also said it is possible that eventually, if the coronavirus sticks around, any kind of vaccine might become part of a standard childhood immunization.
All right, Ryan Kruger reporting live for us tonight. Thank you, sir. We'll see you on Up Late later on. In other news tonight, a home under construction has become the focal point of the Ahmaud Arbery murder investigation. And there is new video showing a number of people going inside that home. So the video appears to show Ahmaud Arbery in an empty home under construction shortly before he was shot and killed in February. Gregory McMichael and his son Travis are charged in his murder. They told police they confronted him because they thought he'd burglarized the home. The homeowner says nothing was taken at all. The homeowner also tells 11Alive that he believes a man who entered the construction site may have been trying to get a drink of water. He shared more of those videos showing several people in the property in the weeks and months before Arbery was killed. Arbery's family say that the day that he was killed, he was unarmed, he was out for a jog. Well, today we heard from Gregory McMichael's attorneys for the very first time.
It is a tragedy. A young man is dead at just 26 years old. How could that not be a tragedy?
Gregory McMichael's attorneys today would not discuss details of their case, saying they're going to have to wait to present the evidence in a courtroom, but did say there is more than one video out there. They just say the cell phone video is not the only thing out there that went viral last week.
The legal teams on both sides of this case will be under intense public scrutiny. One attorney in Florida has particular insight into what the defense will face in the coming months. Reveal investigator Andy Perotti talked to Mark O'Mara, who defended George Zimmerman in the 2012 shooting death of Trayvon Martin, another unarmed black man. And he says there are some marked differences.
Cheryl, O'Mara tells me the video capturing Arbery's death sets it apart from the Zimmerman case that had no such evidence. But that's not the only challenge the defense will be up against. The criminal defense attorney says the McMichael legal teams should be prepared for a barrage of bogus stories circulating on social media before and during the trial. It became such a concern for his law firm, he got special permission from the Florida bar and a judge to create a website, Facebook page, and a Twitter account to respond to disinformation.
By the time this case gets to trial, there will be no one who doesn't know about the McMichaels case, just like Zimmerman. The problem with it is that what they know about the case is not going to be particularly accurate. A lot of people want to be on that camera. They like the Klieg lights. They want to have their moment of fame. And they'll come up with outrageous stories. They'll come up with evidence that they make up.
O'Mara and the attorneys representing the McMichaels have urged the public to wait for all of the facts to surface before making any judgments. Cheryl?
Andy, trials like this bring up such strong emotion in the community. Did he talk about how that emotion plays into how an attorney is able to handle the case?
Cheryl, it did. Some of those emotions turning into actual threats. O'Mara says that law enforcement investigated about 2,500 credible threats made to he and his staff during the Zimmerman trial. Now, coming up at 11 o'clock on Uplit, hear the advice that he would give to the McMichael legal teams. That's coming up tonight at 11.
All right, we'll see you tonight at 11 o'clock. You know, Arbery's family shared their thoughts about the investigation in an exclusive interview with Dr. Phil. They say that they want everyone to know a lot more about their son and what this loss means to them.
He was a good boy. Ahmaud was good. Ahmaud was good. Ahmaud carried the most humbling spirit. Ahmaud was basically, he was a happy person.
I just want people to know that he was a good, well-mannered, respectful boy. All those people had to do, if he was doing something wrong, all they had to do was go talk to him.
Ahmaud had dreams and he had ambitions, and all that was taken away.
You're going to find a lot more on the Ahmaud Arbery investigation on the 11Alive app, including full interviews with representatives from both sides of this case. Now turning to the very latest on the coronavirus, stopping that spread throughout the state of Georgia. A new hotspot is emerging in Georgia. It's in Hancock County. It's triggered by outbreaks at 2 nursing homes. This is what we're learning tonight. 11Alive's Doug Richards spoke with the governor about that tonight, and he brings us this story.
Hancock County has gotten a lot of attention over the last several days from state officials who are trying to wrangle the spread of the COVID-19 virus here in Georgia. Some of those officials, including Governor Kemp, were here in Hall County today. Hall County has had its own outbreak rooted in the county's poultry industry. And Governor Kemp says the number of new cases here has dropped sharply as a result of new hygiene practices at poultry plants and in communities. When you look at the alarming COVID-19 outbreaks across Georgia, you know about the ones in the southwest part of the state. Hancock County is near Augusta. Its rate of COVID-19 infection is now on par with some of those southwest Georgia counties. State officials say much of Hancock County's outbreak is tied to 2 nursing home facilities.
They look like they're a hot spot. I don't think it's a county-wide problem. It's more of a, and this quite honestly is what we're seeing around the state. We're not seeing large community spread right now. We're seeing it tied to a specific, facility or neighborhood or instance.
Hancock County has historically had its share of issues. Its poverty and unemployment rates are among the state's highest, and now its COVID-19 outbreak rate is also among the state's highest.
So right now, with guidelines easing across the state of Georgia, the YMCA is now open for business at several locations across metro Atlanta. So this is what we know. It's a phase 1 plan. Part of this plan is to gradually return to normal, whatever normal is going to look like for all of us, right? It also includes new guidelines, such as limiting time inside to 1 hour for all the patrons who visit the YMCA, respacing exercise equipment, and rigorous cleaning of the entire facility. Right now, about half of the states Right now, about half of the state's daycare centers are still shut down. Many are considering reopening after the governor eased some of those restrictions this week. But there are still strict rules they'll have to follow. Jerisha White owns 2 Metro Atlanta daycare centers that have been closed for the last 45 days. She plans to reopen Monday with curbside drop-off and temperature checks. They're also keeping empty seats between kids for art and reading projects and creating individual playstations outside with personal sandboxes.
We've done everything that we can imagine to be prepared to reopen on Monday. We've implemented activities that cause for the children to have to be a little more farther apart than they normally would.
All right, so some of the state's guidelines include no more than 20 people in a classroom, a ban on community meals, temperature checks for children and staff, and no parents are allowed inside the buildings.
It's interesting how each state does things differently. Georgia started to get back to business on April 24th, but North Carolina didn't start reopening its economy until last week. And most of the things that we reopened first, like nail salons and hairdressers, North Carolina has decided can wait. Georgia and North Carolina have roughly the same population, about 10.5 million. Georgia ordered everyone to shelter in place on April 3rd, 4 days after North Carolina. But on that day, North Carolina was ahead of us on testing, but had fewer COVID-19 cases, 2,093. Georgia had double the number and 9 times more deaths. Fast forward to this past Thursday. North Carolina reported more than 16,000 laboratory confirmed cases, still half of Georgia's total. But Georgia has picked up the testing, especially in the past 2 weeks, averaging 8,394 tests per day. Both states want to flatten the curve to avoid overwhelming the hospitals. Because Georgia didn't start tracking the number of patients actually in the hospital each day until May, we only have the past 2 weeks to compare. In that time, North Carolina has consistently had about 1/3 the number of patients, their highest day of hospitalization throughout the pandemic, April 29th, when they reported 551 patients. The good news for Georgia is that our number is trending down, despite removing the shelter-in-place order for all but the elderly and medically fragile. So why has Georgia been hit harder? We're still working on that answer, but a big reason is likely when the virus entered our community. Georgia and North Carolina announced their first positive cases within a day of each other in early March. But Georgia has since tracked positive cases in our state back to February 1st. That means COVID-19 spread undetected for more than a month in our community.
All right, thanks a lot, Rebecca. You know what, folks? We want to hear your questions about Georgia's coronavirus numbers. Text us at the number on your screen, 404-885-7600. And remember, that's a text, not a call. And let us know your name and where you are from.
Well, we're starting to see a little forward motion with this disturbance in South Florida that will likely become our first tropical storm of the Atlantic season. So coming up, how this system all the way down here could affect us here in Georgia.
All right, Sam, we'll see you in a couple of minutes. And don't forget, folks, we are streaming all 3 hours of Prime Time on the 11Alive YouTube channel. Subscribe and join the conversation in the community section. We've got more 11Alive news in Prime Time after the break.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you.
Welcome back, everyone. On Capitol Hill, House lawmakers are back in session, and right now they are debating a $3 trillion pandemic relief bill. This is a new bill that they're looking at right now. Democrats, they actually wrote this proposal, but they're getting pushback on both sides of the aisle. 11Alive Jennifer Bellamy is breaking down where that money could actually go if approved.
We're talking about the Health and Economic Recovery Omnibus Emergency Solutions Act, also known as the HEROES Act. And with nearly 37 million Americans out of work due to the coronavirus, it's promising to help boost the economy and some of our bank accounts. So here's a look at how the bulk of that $3 trillion could be distributed. Nearly a third of it sent to state and local governments. Almost $200 billion in hazard pay for essential workers, $75 billion for COVID-19 testing and contact tracing, $175 billion in rent, mortgage, and utility payment assistance, and additional funds to help keep the Postal Service afloat. The measure also calls for a second round of $1,200 stimulus checks, but this time all dependents would be eligible for payments, not just those under 17. The HEROES Act would also extend the extra $600 weekly unemployment benefit from July 2020 to January 2021. Now, at this hour, the House is still debating that legislation, and while it will likely pass, it doesn't stand much of a chance in the Senate. But House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has said the measure is more of an opening offer to help open negotiations with the White House and Republican leaders.
All right, thanks a lot, Jay Bell. You know, being disabled in the midst of this pandemic can be challenging for thousands of people across our state of Georgia, but people with special needs are finding innovative ways to adapt. Here's Matt Pearl to explain.
Come on, look at the camera. Say hi.
Hi, my name is Chrissy, C-H-R-I-S-S-Y. My sign name is Chrissy.
Jacob is 5 years old, and he was diagnosed with autism.
Right now, I'm profoundly deaf. A lot of deaf and hard-of-hearing people rely on lip reading. And obviously, with the mask, that's a huge challenge.
For a child with autism, having like a set schedule, knowing what to do, that is very vital, and that's something that he missed for almost like a month and a half.
As sort of upended as your life might be now, imagine what it's like to be a person who uses a wheelchair, or a person who's blind, or a person who relies on sign language.
We value seeing people's expressions, just so much of how we communicate, and I miss it.
One of the things that disabled people are really good at is adaptation, is improvisation. We've learned how to maneuver in a society that wasn't built for us.
Happy birthday to you. On those days that we had to do e-learning, he actually was able to focus.
6 + 1 = 11.
Good job.
I decided I wanted to share some science for essential workers.
I recently shared a video.
Food, drink.
150,000 views right now. So it's definitely encouraging to see just so many people are open-minded and want to help.
We're all getting a little bit of a taste of what it's like to have a disability. I think that is teaching us how to be more adaptive.
Man, that's an awesome program. By the way, Jacob's Ladder is making their resources available to all families online, and you can find a link to those resources right on our website at 11alive.com.
The coronavirus pandemic has had a catastrophic effect on the economy, and it might be a while before some sectors recover. But one part of the food chain is actually seeing a boom right now. Let's connect the dots.
This week, Impossible Foods announced it's making its plant-based beef available at over 1,700 Kroger stores across the U.S. The fake meat company is clearly filling the demand as the meat supplies dwindle because of the pandemic due to outbreaks at processing plants. Those shortages, plus panic buyers, are forcing some grocery stores to limit the amount of fresh meat people can buy. Now business is booming. A report in April found that demand for fresh meat alternatives had skyrocketed by 272% between March and April compared to last year. During the same time, demand for meat was only up by 58.6%. Other alternative products are seeing a boom as well. Tofurkey sales are reportedly up 40% over the last 3 months compared to last year. Guardians saw an increase of 65% from mid-March to mid-April. And Morningstar Farms saw their March sales increase by 66%, proving that Americans want their taste of meat, even if it's not technically the real deal.
Your 11Alive storm trackers tracking a very warm weekend ahead. It's a nice night out at the Battery. Many of those businesses are open as social distancing still, but it's pretty busy out there. You can see the lights are on. A few clouds left, and we will see some clouds around tonight. But the clouds did not keep us from heating up. We made it up to 81 degrees, which is just 1 degree shy of where we should be this time of year. We should be around 80 and 60. We were 81 and 61. So definitely trending upwards as we head into this weekend. Now, overnight, it's going to be very mild. We'll have a few of those clouds around like we saw all day today. Temperatures will bottom out in the low 60s, and then tomorrow, once again, we'll be heating up pretty quickly. By lunchtime, we should be around 80 degrees, and then into the afternoon we go, and we should end up in the mid-80s with a lot of sunshine. So it is going to be quite bright and sunny out there. Notice we have storms out to our west, way out to the west in Texas. I mean, Oklahoma and Texas is getting clobbered with severe thunderstorms tonight, but our ridge of high pressure is keeping us high and dry and very warm once again, and it's directing in some rather rich moisture-laden air. So we're going to see that stickiness factor go up, that mugginess go up, and this ridge is also helping to keep this system kind of at bay. It's kind of holding it back a little bit, that developing tropical system here, but it has made some headway now and is moving up towards the Miami area. It was a little bit further to the west earlier, so it is making some slow progress and will gradually strengthen, and the National Hurricane Center does anticipate that it will be either a tropical depression or tropical storm sometime over the weekend. It's giving it an 80% chance of that happening, and if it becomes a named storm, then it will be called Arthur. But we have this warm pattern in place. We're going to see some moisture getting wrapped up in here as well, humidity, and that will keep things a little sticky around here for the weekend. So we'll be on the warm side for Saturday and Sunday all across Georgia, and middle Georgia may end up seeing some 90-degree readings. We're going to come very close here in Atlanta too. And then it won't last forever though. We'll see a frontal system move through, and that'll bring us in some rain on Monday into Tuesday, and it'll bring in some cooler temperatures as well. So we get this little taste of summer, and then it's back down a little below average for the middle of next week. So here's the timing in all this. That front that's coming out of the Plains states will continue moving in our direction. We'll see it bring in a few clouds once we get into Sunday night. So you can see the rain that'll be moving in here. It'll be, the timing will be most likely late Sunday into Monday, and then a few showers, maybe thunderstorms on Monday afternoon. We're anticipating here. At this point, marginally severe. We're not expecting anything really widespread severe, anything like that. And then as this front moves to the east, we'll see a little wraparound moisture, maybe a few showers in North Georgia next week. But for the most part, cooling down and seeing a really nice day for Tuesday and Wednesday shaping up. So we'll end up seeing warm, humid conditions for the weekend. Hopefully you have a way to keep cool the next couple of days. 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms on Monday, 30% chance on our Tuesday morning, and then we'll shape up Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday, Thursday. Will all look really nice. And then as we head into the end of the week, things look like they'll be warming back up again.
Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
New CDC guidelines released just yesterday. They are one-page, sort of like decision trees aimed at helping different businesses and services decide whether it is safe to reopen, and then, if so, how do you do that? There are pages for schools, workplaces, bars, restaurants, camps, and child care programs. Here to talk to me tonight about these guidelines and what they mean for the country is NBC medical contributor Dr. Lippy Roy. Dr. Roy, so it's not as detailed as what was anticipated, but do you think the case-by-case advice is as definitive as we're going to get?
Good afternoon. It's good to be with you. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, every business is kind of different, whether it be a school, a bank, they're all different. So I think it's perhaps ideal to tailor the recommendations to that individual business and building in order to keep both employees and customers safe.
There has been a lot of back and forth about wearing masks. It's actually, surprisingly, a very divisive topic. LA just made wearing a mask mandatory. So from a transmission standpoint, is the mask to prevent the wearer from catching it, or to prevent the wearer from potentially passing it on to others?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked to clarify the face covering issue, Aisha. So remember, the public need to remember that the purpose of covering your mouth and nose is to reduce the transmission of virus from you to others. So it's really to protect those around you. That's how you reduce the transmission. But remember, the face covering, mask or whatever face covering, that's really supposed to be a supplement to the physical distancing. That's still the priority, keeping that distance, but then in addition, supplement that with face covering.
All right, thank you so much for clearing that up for us tonight, Dr. Roy.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear.
on 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Senator Kelly Loeffler has given the Justice Department, SEC, and Senate Ethics Committee documents about information about stock trades by she and her husband. Earlier this week, the FBI served a search warrant for the phone of North Carolina Senator Richard Burr as the agency ramps up its investigation into possible insider trading. Joining me right now is Chuck Todd, the moderator of Meet the Press. Chuck, we've talked about this for a couple of months now, how this has looked bad, the optics have been awful, but are there more cards to be played in this? Are there any more surprises for Senator Loeffler, would you guess?
Honestly, the question I have, and you brought up, first of all, it's interesting that Senator Burr had a search warrant where the FBI had to basically go to the Justice Department and get approval for something like that. That happened. Neither Senator Loeffler or Senator Dianne Feinstein, California Democrat, who's also been interviewed, or at least said she's turned over some information to the FBI. It's interesting to me that it appears that both Feinstein and Loeffler have been voluntarily cooperating with the FBI. The implication with Burr is that wasn't voluntary. Now with Burr, they're also looking into some trades that his brother-in-law made right around at the same time. The question we've had is this a criminal investigation? And we haven't gotten an answer on that. Our own Pete Williams said, look, remember Congress passed what was called the Stock Act a few years ago. And I think, if you recall, I want to say there was a member of the Georgia delegation that got caught up in this a few years back. But essentially, there was a scandal about 7-8 years ago where a bunch of members of Congress were caught, trading on information that they were learning. And so they did pass a bill to make it illegal. Perhaps that's what they're investigating here. But that's the question. Was a crime committed? You can make a moral case, but the question we have is, what crime did they commit? And I think that's something that isn't clear just yet.
I was reading a piece in The Atlantic today about the campaign of Joe Biden, and it essentially talked about his basement campaign, as many people have labeled it. And I thought it was an interesting point that nobody looks good on Zoom. We all do these meetings on Zoom, and none of us look particularly good. But when you're running for the presidency and you're making gaffes the way he is, their point in this was these are very tough times for him, trying to figure out where this campaign is going to go against President Trump.
Yeah, you mean when you lean forward in, what's that, and all that stuff? Yeah,
right.
The Zoom stuff is always terrible on that front. Is this on? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Look, I think ultimately the idea of staying out of your opponent's way when you think your opponent is hurting himself is still a really good strategy. And that's what the Biden campaign, why I think they've been comfortable staying in the basement. I think they view that President Trump is running against President Trump. That said, I think I think that at some point he has to get out. I think at least to start talking with Democratic constituency groups. It is very hard to fire voters up on Zoom. And I think, whether it's the Latino community in Arizona, the African American community in Georgia, if you want to put those states in play, it takes on the ground, talking to people and all that. And so they got to get them out at some point, but I understand why they don't.
Speaking of being in the basement, how about the doghouse for Dr. Fauci? Increasingly, we see less and less of him. And would you guess that also that's going to be how this plays out, that he simply has a voice that we don't hear as much?
Well, by the way, it's not just him. Deborah Birx, Dr. Fauci, Jerome Adams, the Surgeon General, you have not seen them out as spokespeople on much at all in the last few weeks on that front. It's not just Dr. Fauci. I think Fauci gets the most attention there. This is more about where the president wants. He has got it in his own head, which I think he's mistaken, but he believes if you're talking about the virus, you're depressing people and you're hurting the economy. So he feels as if the scientists are sitting there with him, then you're not focused on reopening the economy, he is trying to turn the page, even if the virus won't let him.
Chuck Todd, thank you. Meet the Press airs at 10 o'clock Sunday morning right here on 11Alive. Thank you, Chuck.
Well, the spread of COVID-19 is creating massive information out there. So our verified team is trying to separate fact from fiction, get rid of all the rumors. Here's Jason Puckett.
Thanks to everyone sending us questions throughout the week. It helps us spot the viral claims and rumors and break down what's really going on. First up, this viral image about fake stimulus checks and security measures that let you know your check is real. We checked with the FTC and Treasury Department, and they confirmed fake checks are a scam that they're monitoring. Now, most are meant for banks to check, but a few, like the correct seal on the corner and a watermark on the front and back, can be checked at home. The other option, the Treasury Department has a website where you can input the check number to make sure it's legit. Just double check that you're actually on the treasury.gov site before you put any personal information in. Next, to claims about HR 6666, a new bill introduced in early May. The bill has been the target of multiple viral claims. Some say it requires mandatory vaccinations. Others say it gives the government the right to enter your home and test you for COVID and possibly separate families for quarantine. We checked with the bill's sponsor, Representative Bobby Rush of Illinois, and we read the bill ourselves. Bottom line, HR 6666 never mentions vaccines of any sort, and it does not give anyone the power to enter your home and to force testing or quarantines. These claims are false and easily debunked when you read the bill. It's about 5 pages long, and I'd recommend everyone read it. And finally, these viral images claiming that the U.S. has had a survival rate of 99.9% from COVID cases. Current numbers show this is false. CDC data shows we've had 1,384,930 confirmed COVID cases and 83,947 confirmed deaths. That means about 6% of confirmed cases have been fatal so far. Keep in mind, this number will change with testing, but it's too early to know what it will be. So the claim that our survival rate is higher than 99.9% is false. If you see more questions or claims like these out there, send us an email. We'll take a look.
We hear a lot about those tiny little droplets in the air that can lead to someone contracting COVID-19. But new research actually shows we should be thinking more about our everyday activities. 11Alive's Jennifer Bellamy explains why.
Just holding a conversation could be enough to spread COVID-19. That's the finding of a new study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences and reported in USA Today. Scientists use lasers to show that 1 minute of talking loudly can produce 1,000 virus-containing droplets that can linger in the air for more than 8 minutes. That research found that since droplets that exist in an asymptomatic person's mouth can carry coronavirus, there's a substantial probability that normal speaking causes airborne virus transmission in confined environments. Some argue this supports the importance of wearing a mask as recommended by the CDC to stop the spread. Aaron Bromage, a biology professor at the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth, recently published a blog post that went viral. In it, he outlined high-risk environments that could lead to coronavirus infections. That includes workplaces, public transport, social gatherings, restaurants, and a person's home. All indoors with people in close spaces that involve a large amount of talking, singing, or yelling.
You know, Bromage also tells 11Alive that when we head outdoors, especially this weekend, we should probably try to find a place, a good location that has good air quality or good air flow, and try to avoid crowds if we can. All right, we love sharing these stories, folks. Your stories of teachers going the extra mile for their students despite the coronavirus. But tonight, we are flipping the script with a sweet surprise. That's next on Primetime.
Your 11Alive storm trackers are tracking not only the rising temps, but that rising UV index, meaning at 10 tomorrow, you can burn in as little as 15 minutes. So coming up, just how high those temperatures are going to get and when you can expect the rain to make a return.
People who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are
This is what Marcus Maccabee loves to do most, and he wishes he could be doing it right now. He volunteers teaching Taekwondo to a group of young adults with special needs. Marcus is a high school senior, and every Friday night since he was 11 years old, he has been teaching these special needs classes. He didn't miss a class in 7 years until COVID-19 hit, and he had to cancel his last 3 classes. Caitlin Ross has the story of how his students found a way to say thank you.
I miss you, Marcus.
Marcus has a way of reaching these kids. He makes it fun. He treats them respectfully.
Yeah, it was something that brought Zachary out of his shell.
He's made a huge difference in so many lives. Just by noticing kids and their possibilities.
People talk about Marcus Maccabee's dedication, his sacrifice, but Marcus never saw it like that.
It's definitely the biggest part of my life,
the most proud of it than anything else.
Since he was 11 years old, Marcus spent every Friday night in the studio, missing out on things most teens look forward to.
I don't think I've ever regretted teaching a class rather than going to a football game.
If you think it meant a lot to Marcus, you should hear what it meant to his students, who light up when they talk about what they learned from him. It's safe to say the feeling is mutual.
I have a student named Zachary. Every time he'd do something cool, he'd go, "Yeah, baby," and it's just so funny.
Marcus had a special last class planned for all of them before he left for college. He wanted to celebrate their achievements and reward them for their hard work. But when COVID-19 hit, it was all canceled.
I was pretty upset to not see them for a while because they make me really happy.
But over the past 7 years, Marcus's students have learned dedication, discipline, and honor. They weren't about to just walk away. So they organized a drive-by class to honk and wave and yell, "Get back, Jack," just one more time.
It makes me feel confident.
And they're all looking forward to being together again one day.
I want to see him. I miss him so much.
You see how much they love him, and he obviously has a huge heart to help people. Is he going to keep teaching when he goes off to college?
Absolutely. He's headed to Clemson in the fall, and he plans to become a doctor. And not just any doctor, he wants to be a cardiologist. Some of his students already told him they'll be lined up to become his first patients.
Love it. Do you see everyday heroes in your community? Please share those stories with us. Email us at WhereAtlantaSpeaks@11alive.com or share them using the hashtag #SendTheLoveATL.
Well, as you know, your workspace could change in a huge way because of COVID-19. And could these changes be permanent when you get back to work and you're not working remotely like many of us are right now? Well, Matt Gregory from our sister station out of Washington, D.C. spoke with an architect about the future of where we work.
It's hard to remember, but these open concept offices with no walls and shared workspaces haven't always been the way of the workplace.
Private offices were the thing when I started.
Shalom Baranis has designed offices in D.C. for more than 30 years. So what shifts does he expect the coronavirus pandemic to bring?
We're going to have to be careful that we don't limit our design solutions to only solve yesterday's wars.
For example, Baranis says the design of future offices might resemble the redesign his firm did on the Pentagon after 9/11.
We developed a universal space plan system there that allows for very significant reconfiguration of spaces in very short periods of time.
If employees need to socially distance quickly, you could have
open offices or closed offices. You can basically do that over a weekend.
And Baranis says the pandemic shows us another reality of the new office.
You know, I think offices are going to have to seamlessly stitch working at home with those working at the office.
He believes companies will want to add more remote technology inside their buildings to help people work outside the office.
Look, as a result of this pandemic, I think we're all discovering that with the proper technology, first of all, we're all capable of working remotely.
Well, nice and warm today with plenty of cumulus clouds, and we had our 11Alive storm trackers out taking pictures of them. And this is Katie McSpadden's 12-year-old son's work this morning at sunrise, showing those cumulus clouds behind the trees. What a great job. Katie, you have a talented son. And then Jill Davies in Blairsville, after her morning jog, she said she took this picture of the widespread cloud cover and the mountains in the distance. Just really beautiful stuff. So thank you, Storm Trackers, for showing us how it looks in your neighborhood. We looked at temperatures today that were in the mid-80s in Peachtree City, 83 in LaGrange. We were at 83 in Rome, 81 in Atlanta and Canton. So temperatures were just a little bit above average in some spots, but we'll see them continue to warm as we head into the weekend on our Saturday and Sunday. And not only will it be warmer, but you may have noticed that it's a little more humid. It's becoming more and more humid the next couple of days. So we're going to be in the dew point range in the low to mid 60s. It means it's going to feel a little muggy and sticky at times, and you have to make sure you do stay well hydrated now that the temps have heated up and we're seeing those muggy conditions. So the relative humidity will continue to rise until Monday, and then that front will move through, and that will bring in some drier air as well as a few showers as it moves on in, and thunderstorms too. But for the weekend, we're going to be high and dry, temperatures on the warm side. In fact, by Sunday, we will likely have the hottest day of the year. The hottest we've been so far hasn't been that bad so far this spring, but the hottest has been 86 back on May 4th. So we'll likely beat that this weekend. So a few showers are off to our west trying to scoot in, but that ridge of high pressure is still providing some subsidence, some sinking air, and it's kind of squashing anything that tries to move in here. We do have the humidity on the rise as it's getting into some of that tropical air mass associated with that disturbance down around South Florida. It's finally starting to make some progress here. This high pressure has kind of been keeping it to the south of us as well, but it's starting to make a move, and you can see a lot of convection on the eastern flank of this area of low pressure, which has now moved from the Keys closer to Miami. So we're going to continue to watch that develop overnight, and we expect as we head in through the weekend in this red area here, an 80% chance that this will develop into a tropical depression or a tropical storm. And they originally wondered if it would be subtropical, which is more common this time of year in May, but it looks like it has more tropical characteristics, more warm core characteristics. So both models, the Euro and the GFS, are in agreement about how the timing is going to be, putting it off our coastline sometime Sunday into early Monday, whipping up the waves here all up and down the Florida, Georgia, Carolina coastline. And then the model's differing a little bit as to where it's going to go after that. Will it go more inland or more out to sea? We're going to have to wait and see on that as we get a little closer. But one thing we do know for sure is we're going to be hot this weekend and humid as that tropical moisture moves its way in here with those temperatures on the warm side through Monday. And then we'll start to see some changes as a frontal system moves through on Monday. That'll usher in some rain, some showers, some thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon and evening, and some cooler temperatures as well. So here's the timing on this. We're dry this weekend, no worries there. And then late Sunday into Monday, we'll start to see the showers pop up ahead of that frontal boundary. That front's going to move through on our Monday. So I think the heaviest rain will probably be in the afternoon and evening on Monday. And then by Tuesday, it should be pushing out with some wraparound showers on the backside of this, especially in the North Georgia mountains on our Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think we'll stay dry here once that main line gets out of here on Tuesday. So warm and humid for the weekend, very nice. Getting into Monday, that front moves through. A few showers and storms will be passing through, 50% chance of that. They'll last into early Tuesday. Then Tuesday afternoon looks pretty good. So does Wednesday and Thursday, except for some wraparound moisture in the mountains. And then we start warming it back up at the end of next week.
While researchers and medical experts look for ways to beat the coronavirus, this explosion in online work is now opening up possibilities for a different kind of attack. It's something that intelligence agencies are now fighting against. Let's connect the dots.
According to a report last week from Bloomberg, the U.S. and U.K. are investigating hacking incidents against pharmaceutical companies, medical groups, and universities involved in research related to the coronavirus. The warning from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the U.K.'s National Cybersecurity Center says cybercriminals have increased their attacks to try and take advantage of the ongoing pandemic. The alert goes on to say that the goal is to collect personal information, intellectual property, and intelligence of national interests. Specifically, organizations that research the coronavirus are, quote, attractive targets for hackers looking to find details on COVID-19 medicine efforts. One of the common techniques used, according to this alert, is called password spraying, which means trying common passwords against a lot of accounts. A good reminder to stay alert while the world battles the coronavirus. There's also another fight worth paying attention to.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
I tell you what, there are a lot of people who are missing sports right now, but of course we have to stay safe when we return to those stadiums and venues. Well, 11Alive's Maria Martin spoke. She's trying to get some answers for us on how Mercedes-Benz Stadium is preparing for the possible return of sports.
The minute sports comes back, it will feel like my life is getting normal again.
That is the exact sentiment we're all feeling. A huge part of our livelihood has been put on pause for nearly 70 days, but the return of sports logistically will be very difficult.
There's still a lot of complexity. Like, do we put every other seat? Do we use every other row?
President and CEO of A&B Group, Steve Cannon, says for now, while they wait from league guidance, they're preparing for every scenario.
How do we operate in some kind of either reduced stadium environment with social distancing, and then if fans aren't allowed in our building, but we're still holding these events and they're still being broadcast.
And one of the toughest things to navigate, he admitted, was how concessions will operate in the future if there are fans allowed.
The future of concessions will be order pickup. I can sit in my seat. I can place my order through the Atlanta Falcons app or the Atlanta United app, and then it sends me a message, time to come pick it up.
Does this change the fan experience temporarily?
It will definitely alter the fan experience. In the same way that air travel was altered after 9/11, things in the beginning will feel foreign and maybe uncomfortable. As long as they know we're doing our best to create the safest and most secure environment so that they can enjoy a sporting event, then I think they will forgive some of the inconveniences that might be part and parcel of the sort of future new normal.
Well, it'll be a hot and humid weekend, most likely the hottest temperatures so far this year. And then we'll have a front move through on Monday. That brings in a chance for showers and storms Monday into early Tuesday. Then we dry it out for a couple of days and we see nice, comfy temperatures midweek.
Okay, hey, listen, Primetime's going to continue with Jeff Hollinger right here on the Big 36. I'll see you over there on 11Alive News on Up Late.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Alive News Primetime on the ATL starts now.
And welcome on this Friday night, everyone. Right now at 10, new video released in the Ahmaud Arbery investigation. Attorneys for one of the men charged with his murder hinted revelations to come. New coronavirus hotspot developing in Georgia, what we know and how it started, what the very latest case numbers say about our efforts to flatten that curve. And daycare centers working nonstop to meet strict guidelines set by the state. A look at just how many are reopening their doors. But first tonight, phone calls, tips, leads pouring into the GBI from people wanting to help solve the homicides of two women. Here's what we know. Stepsisters whose bodies were found under a bridge in Rome on Wednesday morning, their car missing. The GBI hoping somebody somewhere will help lead them to it, which might lead to the killer or killers. John Sherrick is on the story tonight from GBI headquarters in DeKalb County. John?
The GBI tells me it is crucial to find that missing car. Agents are sure it is somewhere in Metro Atlanta.
The GBI believes the stepsisters Truvenia Campbell and Vanita Richardson were in Vanita's car in Rome Tuesday night just before they were killed. Their bodies found Wednesday morning on the banks of the Etowah River beneath this bridge on the East Bypass, but their car was gone. A car like this one, a 1997 Toyota Corolla, it's gold, Georgia tag RTJ 6295. The GBI believes the car is somewhere in Metro Atlanta. Investigators need a call to tell them where it is.
It'll help us find out who killed these two girls.
GBI Special Agent in Charge Joe Montgomery says it's possible there are at least two killers who attacked Campbell and Richardson.
They had bags over their head at the time. They'd obviously been dropped from the bridge. We're still working on the timeline as to where they were last, how they were killed, why they were killed in some cases, and then taken to where they were finally done, so tragically.
Social media flooded with comments from grieving friends. Vanita Richardson was just about to graduate from Armucci High School, classmates and teachers calling her fun-loving, humble, excited about her future. The GBI interviewing everyone in the women's lives to try to track down the killer or killers and looking for Vanita's car.
And the GBI is also trying to establish what the motive might have been as they try to reconstruct the final hours of the sisters' lives and figure out who was with them Tuesday night.
Horrible story. John Sherrick reporting in DeKalb County outside GBI headquarters. John, thank you. New security video is showing that several different people entering a home under construction that has become a crucial point in the Ahmaud Arbery murder case. Police in Brunswick, Glynn County, say that Gregory McMichael and his son Travis chased down Arbery before shooting and killing him in February. They told police they thought that he had burglarized the home. Today, the homeowner offering a very different reason for why anyone may have been inside. Here is Joe Hankey.
In the weeks and months before Ahmaud Arbery was shot and killed in Brunswick, security cameras caught several people going into this home under construction in the same neighborhood. The owner shared this video today of a man in the home in December. It's not clear if this could be Arbery, but the owner believes the same man entered the home on February 11th. A Glynn County police report details officers arriving but not finding anyone trespassing. The homeowner's attorney in a statement writes, "It now appears this young man may have been coming onto the property for water. Although these water sources do not appear within any of the camera's frames, the young man moves to and from their locations. On December 17th, what sounds like water can be heard. He walks out of the house, eases into a jog, and disappears from view." Other videos released today show a different man and woman going inside the home last November and also children earlier this year. The day Arbery was shot and killed on February 23rd, video appears to show him outside and inside the home. The owner tells 11Alive nothing was ever stolen or damaged. Attorneys for the Arbery family wrote in a statement, "We are able to confirm Ahmaud Arbery appeared in one video. However, we are unable to confirm that he appeared in any other videos. Ahmaud Arbery seems to be the only one who is presumed to be a criminal and ultimately the only one murdered based on that assumption." This cell phone video shows Arbery and then Gregory and Travis McMichael in a confrontation near the home on February 23rd, where Arbery would be killed, with a police report noting the McMichaels thought Arbery was a burglary suspect. Arbery's family says he was unarmed and out for a jog. Gregory's attorneys talked with reporters today for the first time.
We have amassed witnesses, documents, videotape that tells a very different story.
And adding the complete story will come out in court.
Joe, Gregory McMichael's attorney said that there is more evidence that they are gathering and looking into. Did he give any details about what that evidence is?
Well, Cheryl, a moment ago there we played the video of the confrontation between Arbery and the McMichaels from February. Today, Gregory McMichael's attorney said there's actually more than one video of the incident, and the video we have seen so far might not be the only important one to this case.
Okay, will be interesting to watch. Joe, thanks.
You're going to find much more on the Ahmaud Arbery investigation on our 11Alive app, including full interviews with representatives from both sides of this case. All right, now to the latest on COVID-19. A new hotspot emerging between Metro Atlanta and Augusta. Hancock County is now an issue right now. Hancock County had generational poverty. It is a very poor county in the state of Georgia, and it has had 2 outbreaks at nursing homes. 11Alive's Doug Richards asked Governor Kemp about it today.
Hancock County has gotten a lot of attention over the last several days from state officials who are trying to wrangle the spread of the COVID-19 virus here in Georgia. Some of those officials, including Governor Kemp, were here in Hall County today. Hall County has had its own outbreak rooted in the county's poultry industry. And Governor Kemp says the number of new cases here has dropped sharply as a result of new hygiene practices at poultry plants and in communities. When you look at the alarming COVID-19 outbreaks across Georgia, you know about the ones in the southwest part of the state. Hancock County is near Augusta. Its rate of COVID-19 infection is now on par with some of those southwest Georgia counties. State officials say much of Hancock County's outbreak is tied to 2 nursing home facilities.
They look like they're a hot spot. I don't think it's a county-wide problem. It's more of a, and this quite honestly is what we're seeing around the state. We're not seeing large community spread right now. We're seeing it tied to a specific, facility or neighborhood or instance.
Hancock County has historically had its share of issues. Its poverty and unemployment rates are among the state's highest, and now its COVID-19 outbreak rate is also among the state's highest.
With guidelines easing across the state, the YMCA now open for business, and 7 locations across Metro Atlanta are reopened to the public. Now, the phase 1 of the plan is gradually to return to normal. It will include new guidelines like limiting patrons. You can only be inside of an hour. and then respacing exercise equipment, and then rigorous cleaning as well. Right now, about half of the state's daycare centers are still closed, many considering reopening after the governor eased some of the restrictions this week. But there are still strict rules that they will have to follow. Jerisha White owns 2 metro area daycare centers that have been closed for the last 45 days. She plans to reopen Monday with curbside drop-off and temperature checks. They're also keeping empty seats between kids for art and reading projects and creating individual play with personal sandboxes.
We've done everything that we can imagine to be prepared to reopen on Monday. We've implemented activities that cause for the children to have to be a little more farther apart than they normally would.
Some of the state's guidelines include no more than 20 people in a classroom, a ban on community meals, temperature checks for children and staff, and no parents allowed inside the buildings.
It's interesting how each state does things differently. Georgia started to get back to business on April 24th, but North Carolina didn't start reopening its economy until last week. And most of the things that we reopened first, like nail salons and hairdressers, North Carolina has decided can wait. Georgia and North Carolina have roughly the same population, about 10.5 million. Georgia ordered everyone to shelter in place on April 3rd, 4 days after North Carolina. But on that day, North Carolina was ahead of us on testing, but had fewer COVID-19 cases, 2,093. Georgia had double the number and 9 times more deaths. Fast forward to this past Thursday. North Carolina reported more than 16,000 laboratory confirmed cases, still half of Georgia's total. But Georgia has picked up the testing, especially in the past 2 weeks, averaging 8,394 tests per day. Both states want to flatten the curve to avoid overwhelming the hospitals. Because Georgia didn't start tracking the number of patients actually in the hospital each day until May, we only have the past 2 weeks to compare. In that time, North Carolina has consistently had about 1/3 the number of patients, their highest day of hospitalization throughout the pandemic, April 29th, when they reported 551 patients. The good news for Georgia is that our number is trending down, despite removing the shelter-in-place order for all but the elderly and medically fragile. So why has Georgia been hit harder? We're still working on that answer, but a big reason is likely when the virus entered our community. Georgia and North Carolina announced their first positive cases within a day of each other in early March. But Georgia has since tracked positive cases in our state back to February 1st. That means COVID-19 spread undetected for more than a month in our community.
We want to hear your questions about Georgia's numbers. You can text us at 404-885-7600. And remember, that's a text, not a call. Let us know your name and where you're from. Coming up next, more on the president's planned fast track a COVID-19 vaccine and what experts have to say about the timeline.
Well, temperatures are going to be on the rise this weekend, as well as the relative humidity, as what could end up being our first tropical storm of the Atlantic season gets named over the weekend. So coming up, the impacts it could have on us.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes.
All right, let's get you updated now. An autopsy on the pilot in the Kobe Bryant helicopter crash shows he did not have alcohol or drugs in his system. Bryant and all the 8 others on board died in the January crash just outside of Los Angeles. The LA County Coroner's Office released the autopsy reports today. The cause of death for Bryant, his 13-year-old daughter, and the others have been ruled blunt trauma. A potential return to normalcy soon in the National Football League. In a memo sent to all 32 teams tonight, Commissioner Goodell says they can begin to use their facilities beginning on Tuesday. That would include the Falcons. However, teams may only start to use their facilities if pre-established COVID-19 safety protocols are met and if they are permitted to do so under state and local regulations. Teams are not allowed to have more than 50% of staff in the facility, and the number cannot exceed 75 people. Calling it Operation Warp Speed, President Trump announced today he is hoping to see a coronavirus vaccine by the end of the year, but some in the scientific community are throwing cold water on those high expectations. Here's Ryan Kruger live with the details for us tonight. Ryan?
Calling it the biggest scientific operation since the Manhattan Project, President Trump unveiled his plans for a vaccine by New Year's.
We'd love to see if we could do it prior to the end of the year.
That would be a real challenge.
Dr. Ted Ross is the director of the Center for Vaccines and Immunology at UGA.
Normally, vaccine take years to develop. Then you have to manufacture this for all the American population. So 350 million Americans would have to have a dose. If it took 2 doses, that would be 700 million doses.
The president's plan gives the fast track to develop 14 promising vaccines. Officials hope to have 3 or 4 vaccines pass final testing and then will be made available. A top Army general and a head scientist from a major drug company will spearhead the operation.
These data made me feel even more confident that we will be able to deliver a few 100 million doses of vaccine by the end of 2020.
Ryan, I'm going to ask you a science question. I know both of us are journalism majors, but here goes. I know that scientists have discovered how a vaccine might work. So is the anticipation that, in all probability, each and every one of us would have to have a shot, an inoculation each year to make sure that we do not run into COVID-19?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest questions that they have to answer, Jeff. Is it going to be a seasonal shot like we get the flu shot every year, or is it going to be one particular shot and that all cures it? You know, that's what the big challenge will be, and how far that they have to overcome that. You know, Dr. Ross also said it's entirely possible that a COVID-19 shot could become part of your standard childhood immunizations that you give to your children when they're young.
All right, we're all ready for it. Let's get that thing going, that warp speed vaccine. All right, Ryan Kruger, thank you from Atlanta tonight. All right, on to the weather forecast. Samantha joins us. You know, the weekend is upon us. We start paying attention to that forecast about 10:16 on Friday nights with laser intensity.
Oh, I know. And hey, I think it's going to time out pretty nicely for us. It'll be very warm, a little on the sticky side, but we should stay mostly dry until Monday when that frontal system moves through and brings us some cooler air. So we get a little bit of everything, I think, going on this week. So we have those temperatures that made it up to 81 degrees today. 81 was our high temperatures. That was just 1 degree above average. We made it up to 83, though, in Roman and LaGrange. In Peachtree City, 85, so they were the winner here. They made it into the mid-80s, and we could likely see some 90-degree readings somewhere in the Atlanta metro area over the course of the weekend. So it is turning hot this weekend. It's going to feel summer-like. That humidity will be on the rise, and we could end up seeing our first named storm in the tropics. It's a distinct possibility now. Now, we're also watching a few showers and thunderstorms off to our west. I don't think they're going to be able to make it in here. We may have a few sprinkles in the North Georgia mountains. You may remember earlier in the week we had a 20% chance of rain in the forecast for Saturday and Sunday. We've taken that out for Atlanta proper, but some of these might try to scoot into northwest Georgia and North Georgia as we head into the weekend. In the meantime, high pressure is our dominant weather feature, keeping that humid air moving in here, tapping into some of this tropical moisture associated with this disturbance that's in South Florida right now. And it is starting to make a little bit more of a move. It was rather stationary for about 36 hours, but it's starting to move slowly to the northeast. And you can see we're seeing quite a bit of development here on the eastern flank of this low. So we do expect it to continue to intensify. 80% chance that it could develop in the next 48 hours here northeast of Miami and then make its way up the Florida coast very slowly over the course of the weekend. And one thing we know for sure is we're going to be hot and humid this weekend. That low, as it starts to move towards us, could tap into some very moist air and bring that over us as well. So we're definitely going to be sticky, and we'll likely see the hottest temperatures of the year so far. And then once we get into the beginning of next week, is a trough that's associated with that storm that's over the Mississippi Valley right now. That's going to be moving in our direction. We'll get a dip in the jet stream. We'll get cooler temperatures as that front passes through. And while it passes through, we'll have a chance for some showers and some thunderstorms. So here's the timing on all of that. Dry for the weekend, mostly dry anyway. Some of these showers may try to make it to North Georgia, but high pressure will probably keep them from actually hitting the ground. Not much rain anyway. And then this front will be on approach as we head into late Sunday, early Monday. So we'll likely see some showers for the first part of the day on Monday. There is that tropical system spinning off the Carolina coast at that time. This front's actually going to intercept it, so it's going to bring in rain for us first and some cooler air, and then it's going to help kind of steer that system off to the east. So exactly what happens is still questionable, but we'll let you know over the weekend as it develops. So warm and humid for the weekend, chance for storms on Monday, cooler air moves in behind that front, and then we'll end up seeing a 30% chance of rain on Tuesday, and we dry it out for the middle of the week with a lot of sunshine. So, a weather wow moment, I believe, from one of our 11Alive storm trackers, Blake Robb, and showing his drone shot of the cumulus clouds earlier today. If you'd like to be an 11Alive storm tracker, go to our 11Alive storm tracker Facebook page and sign up. We'll approve you, and hopefully we'll see your work right here on 11Alive.
Samantha, thank you. More time at home is more time for families to spend together, for neighbors to get to know each other. A local photographer capturing those moments, marking history. So we go to Fulton County, where Jessica Whitaker is using her lens to send the love. She's capturing these front porch portraits of neighbors in Hapeville and doing so for free. Some are funny, others are loving. A lot of pets getting in on the action too. It's a way for the community to feel connected while we're doing the old social distancing dance. She takes some great pictures. Those are lovely. I like the black and whites too. All right, coming up next, why every college coach in America should appreciate the life and times of former Georgia Tech player and coach Pepper Rogers, who died overnight.
Best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to
With the death of Pepper Rogers overnight, you will not see mention of his lawsuit against Georgia Tech when he was dismissed. Every college coach in America should appreciate the life of Franklin Cullen Rogers today. And here's why. He paved the way for big payouts for all of these coaches all across America. Rogers sued Georgia Tech for fringe benefits. The school refused to pay him after firing him 2 years before his contract expired and then got a settlement. It took him almost 4 years to get his Georgia Tech money. In 1983, Pepper told David Moffat, who was a longtime terrific Atlanta sports writer for United Press International, that he didn't do it just for himself, adding, it wasn't the money so much as the principle. I felt an injustice was there and it needed to be corrected. And it changed everything. From now on, schools and coaches pay closer attention to their contracts. They'll be more likely to make sure that everything is in writing, said Pepper Rogers some 37 years ago in 1983. Mr. Moffat wrote that Rogers sued for $331,030. A Fulton County Superior Court ruled in favor of Georgia Tech, but was overruled by the Georgia Court of Appeals, which said Rogers was entitled to such benefits as profits from radio and television shows and the use of a new car and tickets to pro sporting events around here in Atlanta. The settlement was described as fair with Homer Rice, who was the athletic director back then. I've always believed that lawsuit kept Pepper Rogers out of the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame for a very long time. He finally got in, but there was a price to pay. There was some people not very happy with his victory. All right, we'll take a break. We're back right after this.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you.
A suspected gang member now in custody after police say he tossed a handgun into a wooded area in Griffin. Investigators say a 5-year-old boy then found that gun, picks up the gun, and then accidentally shoots and kills his 12-year-old brother. Hope Ford has new details in this tragic story. Here's the investigation.
A week after a 5-year-old child found a gun in the woods, police arrested Octavius Lyons.
He is charged with being a member of the Crips, and the 3 charges are based on the possession of drugs, throwing a handgun in a wooded area in a neighborhood, and also possession of a gun while possessing drugs.
Police say Lyons ran from a traffic stop, threw drugs and a gun into the woods, which the child would later find. Thinking the gun was a toy, he accidentally shot his older brother, who died. Police Chief Michael Yates says the rise in drugs and gangs, coupled with the senseless death of a child, is motivating his officers to aggressively target drug activity.
And if you're engaged in that kind of behavior here in Griffin, you better stop. You better go somewhere else, or we're going to do everything we can to send you to prison for the rest of your life.
Because of COVID-19, the next time a grand jury will convene in Spalding County is July. Acting District Attorney Marie Broder hopes Lyons' bond hearing will take place in June, so that her office can present the case to the jury the next month. Broder says she plans to ask the judge to deny bond.
Investigators say they are still looking for other people that were in that car that led to the original traffic stop, and they expect to charge more in this case. Former Georgia governor and the current agriculture secretary in the Trump administration, Sonny Perdue, is adding to his workload. Today, President Trump named him to the coronavirus task force. Mr. Perdue has served as ag secretary since 2017 and will continue to do so. Health officials have made it clear that the key to getting people safely back to work and school is widespread testing. So where does the country stand on testing? Here's NBC's Stephanie Gosk.
Who has coronavirus and who doesn't? A simple question, but the answer is still out of reach. Things have improved. Since April, the numbers of diagnostic tests per day have doubled nationwide. But experts say there is a ways to go.
We're still pretty far away from where we need to be. I believe we should be testing at 3 times the level that we are right now.
The federal government has offered support, but largely left testing up to the states. So we reached out to all 50 to see where things stand. 2/3 responded, the large majority telling us they are not where they need to be. The reasons may be surprising. Plagued at first by shortages, only 4 states say they are low on testing kits, reagents, or swabs right now, though many said they're worried about maintaining that supply. Oklahoma opened its testing up to everyone.
We saw an enormous increase in testing from right around 800 to 1,000 a day to over 4,000 a day. When that happened, we overwhelmed our testing labs.
Multiple states are sometimes competing to get tests processed at the same labs. Oklahoma had to scale back temporarily.
Is it possible right now in the state of Oklahoma for someone who is asymptomatic to go and get a test today?
Yes, it is.
Only a handful of states say they have opened up testing to everyone. The rest are prioritizing those who are sick and essential. But now that capacity has improved, some states are dealing with a different problem, like in Arkansas, where some residents don't realize tests are now more available.
Some people may not see themselves as being at risk, and other people may perceive that they are increasing their risk if they go out to get tested.
There are some health officials who remain frustrated, like in Santa Clara County, California, with a population of 2 million.
The biggest challenge is everyone agrees that testing is absolutely essential, but no one can agree on who's responsible for making sure we have testing available here in the community and beyond.
In the end, experts say the goal is not to test all 330 million Americans right now, but to have the capacity to test where it is needed.
States that are building up their capacity may not be building it up for today. They may be building it up for outbreaks that might pop up down the road.
Absolutely. And every time we see a new outbreak, we need to have the testing capacity to go in, test everybody, identify who's been infected, and isolate those people.
Health officials say they have their eyes on that goal, aware that there is still lots of work to be done.
A short time ago, House lawmakers passed a new $3 trillion pandemic relief bill. Democrats wrote the proposal, also known as the HEROES Act. It's getting some stiff opposition from both sides. Here's a look at what the bulk of the $3 trillion could be and how it could be distributed. Nearly a third of it sent to state and local governments. Almost $200 billion in hazard pay for essential workers, $75 billion for COVID-19 testing and contact tracing, $175 billion in rent, mortgage, and utility payment assistance, and additional funds to help keep the Postal Service afloat. The measure also calls for a second round of $1,200 stimulus checks, but this time all dependents would be eligible for payments, not just those under 17. The HEROES Act would also extend the extra $600 weekly unemployment benefit from July 2020 to January 2021. The bill doesn't stand much of a chance in the Senate. You could realistically call it no chance. There's now over 100 cases of children with a rare inflammatory syndrome in New York City, and doctors think that it could be linked to COVID-19. So far, there are 110 cases. That's a 10% rise in one day. The condition is new and it's just been identified. It has a myriad of symptoms, including toxic shock syndrome and Kawasaki disease. This includes severe inflammation of the arteries of the heart. The New York City mayor says African American children account for at least 24% of the known cases. In 34% of the cases, the race is unknown. A promising development in a race to find a treatment. A new study found convalescent plasma appears to be safe to use on COVID-19 patients. More than 5,000 doctors from over 2,000 hospitals and laboratories have been testing the experimental therapy. It includes transfusing the antibody-rich blood serum of recovered COVID-19 patients into people who are battling the illness. Of the 5,000 seriously ill patients who receive blood plasma transfusions, fewer than 1% experience serious adverse events. There are challenges right now for everybody, but there are still things that we can take for granted. Being disabled in the midst of a pandemic adds an extra layer of difficulty. People with special needs are finding innovative ways to adapt, but then again, they always have. Here's Matt Pearl.
Come on, look at the camera. Say hi.
Hi, my name is Chrissy, C-H-R-I-S-S-Y. My sign name is Chrissy.
Jacob is 5 years old, and he was diagnosed with autism.
Right now, I'm profoundly deaf. A lot of deaf and hard-hearing people rely on lip reading, and obviously with the mask, that's a huge challenge.
For a child with autism, having like a set schedule, knowing what to do, that is very vital, and that's something that he missed for almost like a month and a half.
As sort of upended as your life might be now, imagine what it's like to be a person who uses a wheelchair, or a person who's blind, or a person who relies on sign language.
We value seeing people's expressions, just so much of how we communicate, and I miss it.
One of the things that disabled people are really good at is adaptation, is improvisation. We've learned how to maneuver in a society that wasn't built for us.
Happy birthday to you. On those days that we had to do e-learning, he actually was able to focus.
6 + 1 = 11.
Good job,
I decided I wanted to share some science for essential workers.
I recently shared a video.
Food, drink.
150,000 views right now. So it's definitely encouraging to see just so many people are open-minded and want to help.
We're all getting a little bit of a taste of what it's like to have a disability. I think that is teaching us how to be more adaptive.
Jacob Slatter is making their resources available for all families online. We've put that information on 11alive.com. Another troubling sign of the times, famous retailer that we've all known forever, filing for bankruptcy, JCPenney. My, oh my, end of an era. But it's not all bad news. We'll tell you why coming up next.
Well, it's going to be a hot and humid weekend as a little tropical moisture gets moved in here and high pressure continues to warm up those temperatures. So coming up, which will be the hottest day of the weekend and likely the hottest day of the year so far.
Coming up, the discussions continue on how to have sports return safely. We're discussing how a return to sports at the Benz will look in the future.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here
New tonight, one of the nation's top retailers has filed for bankruptcy. JCPenney did it to provide financial flexibility during the coronavirus pandemic. The company will be able to reduce several $1 billion worth of debt, but JCPenney has been reeling for years. Customers won't see much of a difference. They can still shop online, get curbside pickup, and some stores are welcoming shoppers back. My late mother would take me to JCPenney for shoes as a little boy for years and years and years. Good to see them still alive, though, hanging on. A federal judge has dismissed the lawsuit aimed at postponing Georgia's primary election for the second time. A lawsuit filed by several Georgia voters claims having the state's primary election on June 9th is unsafe, and they suggested pushing it to June 30th. They also claim, due to the coronavirus pandemic, paper ballots are a healthier solution than electronic voting, but a federal judge dismissed the lawsuit, claiming state officials have the authority to decide how to run elections, not the court. Senator Kelly Loeffler has given the Justice Department, SEC, and Senate Ethics Committee documents about information about stock trades by she and her husband. Earlier this week, the FBI served a search warrant for the phone of North Carolina Senator Richard Burr as the agency ramps up its investigation into possible insider trading. Joining me right now is Chuck Todd, the moderator of Meet the Press. Chuck, we've talked about this for a couple of months now, how this has looked bad, the optics have been awful, but are there more cards to be played in this? Are there any more surprises for Senator Loeffler, would you guess?
The question we've had is this a criminal investigation? And we haven't gotten an answer on that. Our own Pete Williams said, look, remember Congress passed what was called the Stock Act a few years ago, and I think, if you recall, I want to say there was a member of the Georgia delegation that got caught up in this a few years back. But essentially, there was a scandal about 7-8 years ago where a bunch of members of Congress were caught, trading on information that they were learning. Perhaps that's what they're investigating here. But that's the question. Was a crime committed? You can make a moral case, but the question we have is, what crime did they commit? And I think that's something that isn't clear just yet.
I was reading a piece in The Atlantic today about the campaign of Joe Biden, and it essentially talked about his basement campaign, as many people have labeled it. And I thought it was an interesting point that nobody looks good on Zoom. We all do these meetings on Zoom, and none of us look particularly good. But when you're running for the presidency and you're making gaffes the way he is, their point in this was these are very tough times for him, trying to figure out where this campaign is going to go against President Trump.
Yeah, you mean when you lean forward in, what's that, and all that stuff? Yeah,
right.
The Zoom stuff is always terrible on that front. Is this on? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Ultimately, the idea of staying out of your opponent's way when you think your opponent is hurting himself is still a really good strategy. I think that at some point he has to get out. I think at least to start talking with Democratic constituency groups. It is very hard to fire voters up on Zoom. And I think, whether it's the Latino community in Arizona, the African American community in Georgia, if you want to put those states in play, it takes on the ground, talking to people and all that. And so they got to get them out at some point, but I understand why they don't.
Chuck Todd, thank you. Meet the Press airs at 10 o'clock Sunday morning right here on 11Alive. Thank you, Chuck.
Here, 11Alive Storm Trackers doing a great job showing those incredible clouds that we had over the town today and all across North Georgia. Jill Davies in Blairsville capturing this beautiful picture after her morning run this morning of the expansive cloud cover. We'll have some more clouds tomorrow, maybe a little morning fog as this moisture is increasing and our humidity is going up. So some patches of fog in the North Georgia mountains are possible. This is from Katie McSpadden. Her 12-year-old took this at the sunrise this morning, showing those colorful cumulus clouds. And then Lindsay Kane in Roswell really capturing the afternoon, I think, and some nice shade here. And you'll want to find some shade over the weekend because it is going to be quite warm and quite humid. 81 was our high today after a morning low of 61, so we're pretty close to our normal of 80 and 60 and far from the records. Overnight tonight, we'll see those mild conditions, temperatures getting down in the low 60s, so there will not be a chill to the air because the air is more humid and the air is warmer. So they'll definitely won't have the same feel we had last weekend when it was so chilly. It's going to be very warm, very muggy, and very balmy. It should be in the mid-80s by tomorrow afternoon. So we're turning hot over the weekend, feeling like summer. We're going to see that humidity on the rise, and we may be talking about our first named storm in the tropics, in the Atlantic hurricane season. It usually begins on June 1st, but it looks like we may be a little early this year. Now, we have high pressure in charge. That's keeping any showers that are trying to work their way in here out for the time being. There may be a few that work their way into northwest Georgia and the North Georgia mountains over the weekend. But for the most part, we're going to be mostly dry across North Georgia as high pressure's in control, bringing in some of that humidity, though, with that southerly flow. And also, it's actually a broader ridge that extends out into the Atlantic. That was kind of helping to slow the progress down of the system a little earlier, but it appears that it's starting to finally make its move, and it is expected to develop as we head into the weekend. So in the next 48 hours, that National Hurricane Center giving it an 80% chance that it will develop into a tropical depression or a tropical storm. And now, whether it's totally tropical in nature or partly subtropical is still questionable, but right now they think it has more warm core characteristics, which would make it lean more tropical. Typically, when a storm forms this early, it's more subtropical. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. We know we're going to be heating up. We're going to see the hot, humid temperatures over us until Monday when a front moves through, and that will usher in some rain. So let's talk about the timing of the rain as we head into Monday. We'll see that front moving out of the Mississippi River Valley over the weekend. High pressure keeps us high and dry, but humid. It's going to be rain-free for the most part, but it will not be dry in terms of being arid. It'll be humid and sticky. And then the rain moves in late Sunday overnight into Monday. We have a few showers during the morning, possibly some thunderstorms during the afternoon and evening. And then even on Tuesday, we could have a wraparound shower or two across North Georgia as that low works its way away from us and takes that tropical system along with it. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how this is going to turn out. But warm and humid, we know for our weekend for sure. We'll have a 50% chance of showers and storms on Monday. They should taper off on Tuesday for a dry and lovely middle of the week with temperatures in the mid-70s on our Wednesday and Thursday, and then hot again by next Friday.
So we wait to hear what's going on in professional sports, amateur sports as well. So the question is about facilities. It's about training camps. It's about opening their headquarters. Maria Martin spoke with Steve Cannon, one of Arthur Blank's top lieutenants, on how Mercedes-Benz Stadium is preparing for a possible return to sports.
The minute sports comes back, it will feel like my life is getting normal again.
That is the exact sentiment we're all feeling. A huge part of our livelihood has been put on pause for nearly 70 days, but the return of sports logistically will be very difficult.
There's still a lot of complexity. Like, do we put every other seat? Do we use every other row?
President and CEO of A&B Group Steve Cannon says for now, while they wait from league guidance, they're preparing for every scenario.
How do we operate in some kind of either reduced stadium environment with social distancing, and then if fans aren't allowed in our building, but we're still holding these events and they're still being broadcast.
And one of the toughest things to navigate, he admitted, was how concessions will operate in the future if there are fans allowed.
The future of concessions will be order pickup. I can sit in my seat. I can place my order through the Atlanta Falcons app or the Atlanta United app, and then it sends me a message, time to come pick it up.
Does this change the fan experience temporarily?
It will definitely alter the fan experience. In the same way that air travel was altered after 9/11, things in the beginning will feel foreign and maybe uncomfortable. As long as they know we're doing our best to create the safest and most secure environment so that they can enjoy a sporting event, then I think they will forgive some of the inconveniences that might be part and parcel of the sort of future new normal.
Another Atlanta sporting event has been affected by the pandemic. The Truist Atlanta Open, which was supposed to happen this July, has been postponed. It will return in 2021. The ATP Tennis also announcing today the tour will be suspended entirely through the end of July. More stories tonight about the former Georgia Tech player and head football coach Pepper Rogers, one of a kind. Coach Rogers died at the age of 88 yesterday. He recruited current athletics director Todd Stansbury to come to Tech as a football player. Stansbury says Rogers, despite all of his different coaching jobs, was always a Yellow Jacket.
He never lost his love for Georgia Tech. I think when you look at any of the pictures of him recently, say in the last 5-6 years, he is always decked out in Georgia Tech gear. Georgia Tech hats, shirts. I know every time I saw him, it was, hey, I need you to send me some gear.
My favorite thing about Stansbury's office as I was looking at that interview there was a great picture of Bobby Dodd over his head up there. You know what? If you're an athletics director at Georgia Tech, you got to have a big picture of Coach Dodd somewhere in that office. That's a cool picture. All right, we will take a break. Back right after this.
Extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more.
The hottest temperatures of the year so far are likely this weekend. Humid, too. Then we see a front move through Monday, 50% chance of showers and storms. They'll linger into early Tuesday. And then it looks like we dry it out Wednesday and Thursday, feeling really good, and then starting to heat back up next Friday.
All right, that's it for us. The weekend has finally arrived. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. And flip over to 11Alive right now for Up Late. And that's it. Am I wrapping it up right now? Am I done? Yes. Okay, let's wrap it up. My MARTA bus ride is waiting right outside here, the world headquarters. I've got to get there. Not much traffic tonight. Have a great weekend, everybody.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
From 11Alive News, Up Late starts now.
Breaking now at 11, the U.S. House just passed a massive coronavirus relief package. The $3 trillion bill would provide emergency payments to millions of Americans. It now heads to the Senate. But President Trump has declared the proposal dead on arrival. Straight ahead.